Every now and then, a new technology comes along that changes your life, but also transforms your behavior. And for me, that technology in the past year was something called the Fitbit Flex. This activity band that you wear around your wrist like a watch, except it doesn't tell the time. It measures your activities, steps taken, distance traveled, and also calories burned. And then you link that to a smartphone or a computer, which allows you to log various other activities and also calories taken in. So it becomes a food logger, a weight logger, and the like. The problem with the Flex for me was that I couldn't see what I was doing at the time I was doing it in terms of measuring my activity. And that's where the next one in the range came along, the Fitbit Charge. Now, the difference between these two is significant in pricing. The Fitbit Flex costs about 1,400 Rand, the Charge about 1,900 Rand. But the Charge is amazing in that the little screen in the front actually tells you exactly how many steps you've walked that day. It also tells you how many steps you've climbed, but also, remarkably, it automatically measures your sleep patterns. The Flex can also do that, but you've got to set it up to do that, and it's quite clunky. So the Charge really answers a lot of the issues that the Flex didn't. But there was one issue that still remained, and that was heart rate monitoring. So if you went to gym and you wanted to track your heart rate, you would still have to wear some kind of chest band. But that problem finally goes away with the new Fitbit Charge HR. And that does all the things that the Charge can do, but also measures your heart rate and tells you, as it's happening, how your heart rate is being affected by your activity. Now, in the studio with me, I have TANYA KOVARSKY, who's head of communications at the Core Group, and they brought the Fitbit range into South Africa. TANYA is also wearing a Charge HR. That clearly is the fashion accessory for this year. Welcome, TANYA.
Thanks, Arthur. I'm just going to check my heart rate to see what it is at this point. It's 81, so obviously I'm not too nervous or too excited. 81 is quite an average lowish rate.
We're going to see if we can get that heart rate up once you start talking about what the thinking is behind bringing Fitbit in for an organization that's best known for Apple products, the laptops, the smartphones, and the iPads.
Yeah, so we do have a huge range of accessories as well, anything from laptop covers to headphones. And the Fitbit, I mean, they were the first fitness trackers in South Africa, which Core brought in obviously as a first and obviously to improve people's lives and well-being.
I think that's the beauty of each successive device, is that they keep replacing more and more products.
Absolutely.
What kind of take-up has there been, and have you seen people abandoning their watches for these devices?
I think watches, they haven't been that popular with everyone carrying their cell phones now, but I have heard a lot of people say, well, we don't need a watch when we've got the Charge and we can immediately see the time. I don't really wear a watch anymore. I think you were telling me earlier that you don't wear a watch anymore because your Charge has taken care of that. So it's just simpler, one thing to look at, one thing to worry about, a strap or a battery on. So for me, it works. This is really an everything in one at this stage.
It certainly applies to me. I've been able to give up that really irritating chest band, but also I now don't have to decide on what my next watch is going to look like. I don't have to worry about the smartwatch revolution, because to me, all I really want from a smartwatch is exactly what an activity band does. But there are a lot of people who are going to be looking at smartwatches in preference to activity bands as a fashion accessory.
I think so, and especially since a smartwatch ideally, well, it is going to do everything that a fitness tracker could. Probably at a more expensive price, and might be a little bit more challenging to use for someone who's just looking for basics.
The price here is quite a lot higher than if one bought it in the United States before exchange rate and import duties and the like. So people are going to want to look at getting the previous model, say, at a lower price. Is that likely to happen?
Yes, it is. I mean, we're seeing a decrease in prices of the older models once a new model is introduced. They are quite competitive in terms of looking at other devices, other fitness devices. They certainly are on a par with those kind of pricing ranges. But certainly the low models are coming down.
Do you see the Surge being a companion device or the next level up from the Charge HR?
I think it's definitely a next level up. It's GPS, and already we're getting a lot of interest from more serious sports people like cyclists and runners. So I think it's going to appeal to those kind of people more. It's got a slightly bigger face, slightly bigger strap, so I think it's more of a heavy-duty device.
And do you think that in 2015 the fitness device is going to be the category that will truly explode in this country?
I think it already is exploding. There are loads of other devices on the market. I think we stand out because we work well. We work well with a lot of devices, smartphones, computers, pretty affordable, very good looking and unobtrusive devices as well. But certainly I think it's, wearables are big. They were big last year, they're big this year. I mean, even you can get wearable fitness trackers for dogs. So I'm not sure what is next, but I think they're here to stay, and I'm sure we're going to see more things next year and years to come.
Finally, what viewers might not know is that you're a Comrades runner.
Yes.
Has the Fitbit transformed the way you prepare for the Comrades and run it?
I wouldn't say it helps me to prepare. My training is always quite average. Last year I only had the Flex when I was running it, so I couldn't access my stats immediately. I did run a long race on Sunday, and it was brilliant. I could see what my heart rate was. So when I felt that I was going too hard, I would check my Charge HR and see, well, actually I was within range of heart rate. And likewise, when I felt that I was going too slowly, I looked at my heart rate and knew that I could pick it up a bit. So definitely motivating. I needed to get to a certain amount of steps on Sunday, and I did it. And you get rewarded all the time. You get little badges and little high fives and email cheers. So from that point of view, it's very encouraging and motivational.
I was very motivated and excited when I had my first badge for cracking 10,000 steps in one day. But I would say for the unfit and for the fit, the Fitbit, whichever one of the range is chosen, is certainly going to be the technology that transforms people's lives as nothing since the smartphone has done.